Well, good evening.
Good evening. What in the world? What?
Oh, okay. All right. So let me just start by saying thank you. You've tuned into Authors Up, a forum for authors by authors. You could be anywhere tonight, but we love the fact that you started off your year tuning in with us, and
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
just you know, it is our habit, or I should say, is you don't know what's going to happen. And Victoria had I won't call it a technical issue,
I
but
don't
maybe it
know what
was.
happened. All of a sudden, my camera went off. I couldn't get it back on. Then when it came back on, I had the green screen behind me. Couldn't see my books. I don't know what happened. I said, Jesus.
Yeah. Then I saw your books and I couldn't see you. I'm
You're
like, okay, so
right.
we'll be
I
talking
was
books.
like, I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. Happy New Year, everybody. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh,
Whoo,
this is
Father.
a great way to start of the year. I mean, we're true to form. Got to say that
Yes,
much.
yes, yes,
So,
yes. Well, we're
all
here.
right.
We're here. Thank you.
Yeah, that is correct. We are here, although we do want to recognize that one of us isn't.
Yeah,
So,
one of your partners
um,
are.
no, and that is okay because she's getting some much needed rest tonight. So,
Yes,
Andrea, if you're listening, and if you're, hopefully you're not, hopefully you're asleep. Um,
right.
we miss you, but we'll still be here, and we'll see you next week. So,
Yes.
but until then, we are here, and we're
Yes.
gonna do what we normally do. We'll start off by sharing our week in review. So,
All right.
Victoria,
You
you
gonna go
want
first?
to
You want me to
kick
go
off?
first? All right,
Sure.
I'll
Go
kick it
ahead.
off. Listen, I've been on vacation for the past 2 weeks. I didn't have to clock into work. It was one of those staycation type things. I didn't go
Uh-huh.
anywhere. I didn't do anything special. But when I tell you, I have enjoyed my house.
Stop.
I have enjoyed my bed. I have enjoyed catching up on some. It's amazing. We have all these shows and all these
Mhm.
apps we got, but I'll turn around and watch the same things.
Mhm.
I'm watching La
Mhm.
Femme Nikita from years ago. I'm watching all the episodes starting from the first season, and it's just been
Oh.
wonderful. Why? Because I can. I was on vacation, and I do whatever I want on vacation. I signed in a couple of times. No, I didn't sign in. I checked the email a couple of times just to be sure, everything was good. But I literally did no work. So got some things done, and just brought in a new year, and I'm just so grateful to be here. So happy New Year to everyone, all our listeners, our fans, our viewers.
Mhm.
Happy
Mhm.
New Year, and we're just so grateful that we are starting another year with you on Authors Up. So that
Mhm.
was that was mine for the past 2 weeks. What about you, Ruth?
Same here. I was on vacation, and now I did go into work, if you can count it that, on Thursday and Friday, just because I'm saving up my vacation
I
time for
understand.
when a little miss makes her debut into this
That's
world.
I understand.
But I had when it came time to take time off, I did everything I needed to do, packed up my computer, stuck it in the closet, and ignored it till Wednesday.
Good for
So
you.
that was fun. I think I did go into it on Wednesday so I could charge up my phone before going back into work. Although
Okay.
it's just, you almost forget how to go back to work. So
And can I just put in the atmosphere that I really am kind of hoping and wishing there'll be a delay or something in the morning, because I already know I don't want to get up tomorrow. I do not.
stop.
Oh, and we both work for the state. Can I give you some of my vacation days?
Hey.
When little Missy comes, we want you to be there so you can
Uh-huh.
take
Oh yeah.
plenty
Oh yeah.
pictures for the baby.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, and I got to all my kids came home for Christmas, so
Oh,
it
good.
was nice sharing time and space with them, and just, they all grown adults. Our house, we've outgrown our house has outgrown them.
Oh,
So, one of them has a dog, the other one has two cats, so we're just like, yeah, it was fun, but
I bet it was fun. You're glad to see them come on, and
oh
you
yeah.
come and you're glad to see them go. I understand, because Marissa came in with her dog, so I had all my kids together too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Glad to see them come to take you and the pooch right on.
That's right. So, oh, it was good though. It was a good break. Yeah, now we're back. We're back. And we're all
Well,
ready to go.
do you have any
So,
New Year's goals, or we don't say I don't say resolutions anymore. I just have some goals.
no, you know what? And I came to that realization this year because I would tell people, my mom was a single mom for the longest time.
Okay.
Um, so she wouldn't let us stay up on New Year's Eve because I think it was mostly just to keep four kids, keep her sanity,
Right.
instead of four kids. So she would send us to bed. And I was a teenager before I stayed up for New Year's Eve.
You
But
never
her
went
thing,
Dick Clark's Rockin'
y-
Eve, New Year's Eve?
no, I think I may have caught him once. But her
Okay.
thing was, she always said, it's just another night, go to bed. And I think that kind of sunk in. So
Kind of
now
stuff.
it's just, even this year, it was like, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing, keep moving forward. I don't have
That's it.
any
That's
goals or
it.
anything. So that's my focus, is just, I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. It's just another night, just another day. So, yeah. But
That's a
you
good
know
way
what?
to look at it.
That's not to detract from anybody else who may have goals.
Right, right, right.
So, what do you focus on?
Of course, my health journey, and
Hmm.
I've been getting myself back going to church. I have been not attending, but I think that's my biggest goal. That I want to get myself spiritually back in alignment where I used to be,
Hmm.
and where I've been hearing from God, and get back to writing like I was before, and just
Awesome.
concentrate on me. This has been a transitional time for me, and it's time to focus on me. That's it. That's this for this year. So
That sounds good.
that is that. Now we have a wonderful
Hmm.
author tonight who is waiting in the wings, and so I'm gonna click over real quick, and I'm going to read her bio. So hang on, hang on. Listen as I speak about her. Rebecca Hendricks is a writer, researcher, and explorer with a penchant for 1950s pop culture and the societal impact of rock and roll. Her acclaimed Hound Dogged series, which includes Hound Dogged and Hard Dogs Night, transports readers to the tumultuous 1950s, capturing the essence of a coming of age historical fiction against a backdrop of societal upheaval and musical revolution. Though Rebecca has built a career as an accountant and judicial assistant, her true passion lies in writing. From a young age, she was captivated by the power of storytelling, often found crafting tales on her father's antique typewriter. This early dedication blossomed into a successful writing career, allowing her to create vibrant and engaging stories with a captivating sense of time and place. Rebecca's work is a testament to her ability to blend meticulous historical research with compelling characters, plots, and settings. And I have to attest for that because I love her book. But I digress. An experienced urban explorer, Rebecca investigates forgotten places, abandoned buildings, and derelict sites. A Colorado native, she lives with her husband and their two fur babies. In her spare time, she enjoys camping, adventures with her family, and restoring old dolls, giving them new life with her creative touch. We'll talk about her website later, but after this brief break, we'll come back with Rebecca and we'll be discussing her book, Hard Dog's Night. Hang on, we'll be right back. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Rebecca.
Ladies. Happy New Year.
Happy New
That's
Year.
right. Happy New Year. Welcome
Yes.
to our show. We're so happy to have you.
Yes,
I'm
we
so
are.
happy to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, let us start off as we usually do. Tell us about your book, Hard Dog's Night.
Hard Dog's Night is the second book in the Hound Dogged series. It picks up where book one leaves off, and the characters are looking for a drummer to round out their lineup because the Hound Dogs haven't had a drummer yet. So they're looking for that, and then they're working on meeting a challenge that was given to them to come up against a rival group called the Dice. They are up and coming. They're about ready to make a record, and they're very successful. So it's kind of like a big clash going on there.
Okay.
So that's what the book starts.
Awesome. Awesome. Now we normally don't feature a whole lot of fiction, not coming of age, but I would have to say that we've truly enjoyed your book. It was just you have a particular voice, especially to bring to life this particular era, this particular genre, this particular piece of American history.
Yes.
I personally, my favorite music is rock and roll. Of course,
Really?
yes, I do. I love the 80s, but I will listen to stuff a little further back. So,
Yeah.
what drew you to that particular era, and what was the inspiration for the story itself?
It drew me. I was drawn to that era because I wanted to start with it because I liked the starting at like the birth of rock and roll. That's when the birth of rock and roll is. I think that's when things were really interesting and it was forming, and I was drawn to that era. I had wrote this story, or a version of this story, I should say a version of it, when I was 14 years old. And I just, it had always stuck with me. And for some reason, I reread those old books, and I had never really liked the first one. And I don't know, I just nagged at me to rewrite it, and I did. And then my husband was like, he really, 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 really wanted to read it. And I was like, well, and then he's the one that really pushed. He was the one that was behind me, pushing me. Hey, I think you really got something here. I think you really need to go for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so that's when I started to look into, self-publishing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what would you say is the message of your books?
Hope,
Okay.
and never to give up on yourself, and to believe in your dreams, and to have friends that back you up no matter what, that support system. But basically it's about following your dream and listening to yourself, and don't let circumstance and things like that crush it.
Right.
Awesome.
That's what I try to give, to bring hope.
Mhm.
You do. You do.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
So your bio talks about your career as an accountant and judicial assistant.
Yeah,
Now, of course, you are also a successful writer on top of that.
thank you,
So, and
thank
if your first one, if you wrote your first book around 14, obviously your passion is writing.
you. Yeah.
So, how does all of that mesh together, and how do you move forward with that?
Well, I know when I started writing, it's always been like a huge form of entertainment for me because I
Mhm.
liked being able to create stories, and just, you know, see how it went and stuff. So it was like it was an escape for me, as a little girl and stuff, to just kind of create my own world. And so that's what started it. And it really stuck with me through my life. I tried to get another book published back in the 80s, which, it was like really super hard, and
Mhm.
didn't
Mhm.
make it very far. But, I've always been writing in one way or another. Like
Mhm.
I wrote some host of murders for Halloween and things like that. So it's just always been a way, an outlet, a creative outlet for me, but just a way to just explore new things and keep me entertained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how does that mesh with your career as a um,
Account.
yes, accountant? Sorry, because
Okay.
we've got numbers on one. My screen is going up and down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have numbers on one hand, and we have words on the other. So how does that all work up here?
Well, doing accounting work, or data entry and stuff like that. It
Hmm.
was just a way to make a living.
Sure.
Right.
You know, I mean, my parents were all about, it's great that you want to do this stuff, but how are you gonna,
Pay the
because
bills. Yeah.
yeah, I was really into acting when I was in high school,
Wow.
it was like, well, that's great, but you need to make a living.
Oh wow.
So, it's just something I do because it keeps the lights on, it pays the bills and pays the
Hmm.
mortgage and
Hmm.
Yeah.
all of that good stuff.
Yeah. No, we understand. I feel like we're probably all from the same era.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. At first, it was, the white on the not, the knight on the white horse is going to come and sweep you
right.
away, and then
Right.
then when
Right.
that didn't pan out, it's like, oh, you
Yeah.
have to,
Yep.
darn
Yep.
it. But yeah,
Exactly. I
Yeah.
remember in my youth, nobody told me that I could write. I had an English teacher who loved my papers and things and said, "Oh, you have such a talent for writing," but she never said you could write a book. You could
right,
Mhm.
yeah,
never said that to me.
right,
And I find that strange. So it
yeah.
seems like the same with you guys, right?
Sure.
I made my creative writing teachers crazy because I couldn't write in a box.
Oh.
That they wanted you to, like,
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
here's the formula. You do this, you do this, you do this, and you end up here. But I'm all over the place, and and
On the
I've got all this
backside,
stuff going.
yes,
Yeah, and it
yes.
was like they just were like, "This is a great story, but how did you get there?"
And you're like,
Well, I sat down and I wrote it. Well,
I thunk it, man.
how? Yeah. So, yeah, I made them crazy. They didn't know what to do with me.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
well,
But see, and nobody said you could write a book.
or
They
that you
didn't.
could make a living from it. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
Yeah. But,
yeah.
back then when I'm aging myself, but self-publishing really wasn't a thing. The
Uh-uh.
internet wasn't
Mm-mm.
here. There wasn't,
Yep. Yep.
the things that are available to us today, which goes to speak to the fact that, yeah, I did try to get published in the 80s, but
Mhm.
I mean, I
Right.
had to, that was before the internet and everything, and trying to find it.
Exactly.
It was a nightmare. And
Mhm.
I was writing a kind of a I guess a horror piece, kind of fantasy piece. And they were
Wow.
like, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. And that's against this rule. You can't have a vampire and an alien together.
Why not? We like stories like that.
Well, that's the
So,
thing now, and now you can. I
yeah.
mean, there have
Right,
been
right.
so, you were a trailblazer, and that's all it is to it, because now people are, all of that stuff you wanted to do back then, people are doing now. And to
Right.
be honest, you know, I don't know that these new authors appreciate what we had to go through back
I
then,
know. I know.
just to get them to where they are now.
Yes, ma'am. I
So,
totally agree. You hit the
but
nail on the head.
yep.
And
And the thing is,
go ahead, go ahead. I was just gonna say my very first job, I was about 18, 19 years old, was at a book company, publishing company called Vantage Press. It was in New York, and literally, if you had the money, they would print your book. And I had the task of filing the manuscripts, right?
mhm.
And
Wow.
I say, some of the books
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. Because I felt like they were taking people's money, but it was also my paycheck, right?
Right.
They actually had a book called Dogs I Have Loved. And it literally was the book of a page. Each page was the picture of the dog, the name of the dog, and how long they had the dog.
Oh,
There was another one called The Blank Book. There was nothing in the book.
Wow.
okay.
So yeah, I come from that, and
Okay.
that was in the 80s. The 80s.
Oh.
So that's
We,
what they
we,
started calling
we,
vanity publishers. That's what we had available in the 80s, right?
yeah, well,
Wow.
for
You
some
had the
publishers,
money
Wow.
for it, they
yes,
published it.
yeah.
Terrible. Those books
Wow.
don't sell very well. I'm telling them poor people that, oh, this is a bestseller, and oh my gosh! But if you had the money, they printed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Well,
the old saying, money talks, I guess.
mhm. But you know what? We have come beyond that, although people are still publishing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
But
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yes,
but thank God we have. Thank God. And we thank
yes,
God that you were able to publish your book because it is a
Thank you.
wonderful book.
Thank
it
you.
is. It is.
Thank you.
I have to say, I love the storytelling, and we're gonna tell on ourselves a little bit, because I actually got the first book. So, and then your PR person sent the second book and said, "This is the one we're talking about." So, I read the first one. Victoria read the second one, and between us, we loved the series. So,
Yes, yes.
That's
And
awesome.
now I want to read the first book. I
yeah.
want the
So,
first
yeah, I'm
book.
going to
That's
share the
awesome.
first one with her, and I'm going to dive into the second one. So, I had an
That's
introduction
awesome.
to all your characters, to the world that you built. And I was reading some reviews on your book, and it was compared to S.E. Hinton, and I think it was, everyone's read this, the Outsiders. To me,
Yeah,
it was just the tone was lighter, it was hopeful,
yes.
it
Yeah.
was fun,
Thank you.
for lack of a better term. These characters were just getting started. They were
Hmm.
living their lives. Some were pushing against the grain. Some, and it was just, to me, it was a fun read. So, um, that is how I experienced the first one. Victoria, she jumped in the middle of the story, but
I loved
um,
it. It was quite interesting, and it kept me captivated. I wanted to see what was going to happen, and I love books like that. If they get me,
Mhm.
you got me. You
Yeah.
got me. So now I got to get your books so it can be on the shelf, my bookshelf
yeah.
back.
Oh, thank
So,
you. That's
yeah,
awesome. Thank you, ladies.
of course. So in terms of serial storytelling, where do you now we're not asking for spoilers or anything, but how far ahead have you seen into the story? With all these characters that you've created, this world that you've built. You've got 2 books out now. How far ahead are you looking out to carry
Well,
the
right
story?
now I'm working on book 3.
Okay.
Okay,
Um,
good,
the
good.
the hope was that it was going to come out this spring, but it's probably going to be more like this summer because,
Okay.
as you ladies can see, I have created quite the challenge for myself, having all of the characters and having them, come together and how it all fits together. Because when I first thought about publishing it, book 1 and 2 are one book. And when I started to, talk to people about, how do you get, all that, they were like, look, you've really got 2 here. So you need to split them. And so I was like, I kind of had already that rough draft done. You know what I mean? So it was already there. Well, with this one, that wasn't there. So it's been a lot of work and it's been very challenging, which I like, but I mean, it's really challenging because you're trying to keep with all those characters and keeping it relevant and woven in. And it's been quite the, it's been quite the adventure for sure. I mean, I'm going to, and because, as you both can know, the books are kind of long, but I think it's basically part of it's the spacing on those books there's a lot of blank space. But I think a lot of people see maybe the page count and are like, but I'm trying not to, I don't want to make it too much longer, but it might be a little longer, but just because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And, I have to do it justice because I was like, well, maybe I need to cut some stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but I really want to do it justice because it really needs to set up that 4th book when everything, comes, the 4th book is when, of course, all of the punchlines come. I mean, this 3rd book really sets up some serious punchlines. And I think having the background on it is going to be huge. I don't think anybody could start with 3 and really know what's going on.
Okay.
I mean, you could start with 2, I think, but you miss a lot of the of who they are and how they come together, which I think becomes important because, and I know you guys know about Stu. He's going to be really coming up against it, and because he's been on boat now. What's he going to do? He's my little problem child, and so,
no, the way the book ended is a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, what?
No, and I think that we have to get away from the or not even get away from, you have to put in what's in the book. Like you said, you have to do it justice. And the thing is, if someone's already read 1 and 2, they're going to appreciate everything you put into it, even if it's 100, especially if it's an extra 50, 100 pages. So it is, you're giving us more story, and you're giving us, to your audience, which is already there. So I would say, keep writing.
Thank you.
Whatever you're going to put into it, we're all for it. So.
Thank you. And it's very, very, very helpful that you both have read one of them. It's just so huge.
Oh yeah, it's I love it. Can I ask a question since we talking about the book?
Yes, of course.
Who was your favorite characters? Because you got a lot of characters going on here. You got a lot, and I'm gonna tell you mine. But you go ahead and you got a lot of characters. And I was like, but it's such a good story, and I'm just gonna put my plug in right now to everybody. Get the book. Get the book. That's my line. Get the book.
Well, my favorite character is John, just because he's so opposite of me. He just does whatever. He doesn't care what other people think. He's going to say whatever.
Right.
He's a free spirit. Wherever the wind may take me is where I'm going to land. And he's just himself. He's totally himself. What you see is what you get. I mean, he has some rough edges, but that's kind of because he's protecting himself from things. But he's my favorite.
Yes, Anne was my favorite. She's in such turmoil. Bless her heart. she got a lot going on, trying to live her life like she wanted to go for her heart, then trying to be what her parents wanted her to be. That's one thing I liked about your book. Your characters are relatable, and I saw myself in Anne. That's bless her heart. She don't know which way to go. And I need a resolution to that too.
Oh yeah. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoy her too. I really enjoy that part because I'm writing it like what women were up against in the
Yes.
1950s.
Yes.
It's like your life was planned out for you. You're supposed to do this and you're supposed to be this person.
Right.
And she's like, wait a second. I want to be a teacher. I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to do. Well, no, you just need to marry this guy over here. And if you do that on the side, well, and she's going, what? So, yeah, I mean, I really wanted to challenge that when I was writing that part of the history is
Right.
what if you
Right.
have somebody, and there's a couple of them. I mean, I think Marcy's the same way. She's
Mhm.
doing her own thing, and she's another strong one.
Right.
And so yeah, I love her too, and it's a hard row for her to hoe, but you know, she's resilient, and
Mhm.
I can relate to her a lot too. That being told what you are going to be, what you are going to do,
Right.
and
I,
it's hard and soul crushing, and trying to get past it is a
yeah.
challenge on its own.
And I really think that you captured the notions of the day. There is a line when Nancy was presenting her article to Mr. Cummings, and he says how rock and roll does nothing but promote juvenile delinquency. Wow, that stopped me in my tracks. I was like, she really captured the the summing up of how people felt at that time. That
Hmm.
rock and roll was something that was promoting bad stuff in the kids and not something that was happy for them.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. You just really captured it. And I love it. I just love it. Y'all got to get the book.
Yeah, Victoria, there's a club that the boys go to in the first book called the Blue Cat,
Okay.
and it's kind of like in not like a such awesome part of town. It's a small on the down low club that plays the blues,
Right.
and so they've tried to keep it kind of hush hush and a lot, but people go there of all races and everything, and because of the music that's played there, and it's kind of more open and more free.
Okay.
But it comes back in book 3 in a big way, in a
Woo.
big way, and it's really cool to explore that, the learning of the blues.
Mhm.
And Danny is actually the one that interacts with the those peoples a lot in the beginning.
Okay.
So it's really really cool. And in a way it's hard to write it too, because in those days things were so one-sided
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and looked down on, and
Right.
as you all know. So that's it's been challenging, but it's been really cool too, because
Good.
I love the blues. I love the blues, and I've loved learning about the blues and how it influenced rock and roll and
It was funny
all
though in
that.
the book, and when you said that they were getting ready to play Hound Dog, and there was another one. I could actually hear the beginning guitar string, notes. I was like, "Well, I know that song. You ain't nothing but a hound."
Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna switch for this a little bit. You seem to have a fan in our Facebook who named Kenneth Hendricks. He said the first book was great, but the second one was even better. I can't wait for book 3.
Okay.
Who might that be?
I don't know. I don't know who that could possibly be.
I think that's your husband. Also said there are characters that everyone can relate to. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yes, thank you for your remarks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So
So
I have questions. Go ahead.
what kind of response have you gotten from the book
Mhm.
or the book?
Well, I'll be honest, it's been a tough climb because of the genre I'm writing in, historical fiction, young adult, and all that. It's been tough.
Mhm.
I think it does speak more to an older audience just because they remember the 50s or they like rock and roll or something
Yes.
else. Something else has drawn them to it other than So it's been hard. I can say that when they started to promote book 2, it really boosted book 1 in a way that it
Okay.
hadn't been
Mhm.
boosted. So it's kind of it
I
really
can
it
see
Mhm.
really
why.
put it out there. It really put it out there. So yeah, two's been struggling, but from what I've heard and understand is I guess a lot of authors really, when you're new and everything, really don't
Mhm.
start really gaining traction till your third one.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Keep writing. Keep writing. We just
Yeah.
encourage you to keep at it because we got to know what happens. I mean, if you just write for us, that's fine.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't expect to ever be some, great big thing, but I like having like a fan. It's nice to have a set of fan base that
Mhm.
look forward to it. And
Definitely.
that's what
Absolutely.
I ask for.
Yes.
And I think this is a good place to have you read an excerpt so our listeners and viewers can experience the book a little bit. So,
Yes.
Well, I thought I would jump into where the boys first meet Patrick.
mhm.
Excuse me, James. He's quite the different personality, different character than the rest of them.
Mhm.
He's going to school to be an accountant,
Ah,
and he's very much I don't know what you would say, more clean cut and more
Right.
speak more mainstream, I guess you would say.
Mhm.
But anyway, okay, so they're at a show right now where they've been playing, and anyway, it says during the break, Patrick stretched his legs and leaned back against the tree. Jerry tried to remember where his fingers needed to be to play the G chord, and John was lying on his side, his head resting on his left hand. So, what do you think, John? Am I going to get it? Jerry said, strumming his guitar. Yeah, I noticed you sounded better today. Jerry smiled widely. Where is Stu? Patrick said. I think he went looking for his friend, Jerry said. Great. He'll never make it back in time now, Patrick said, folding his arms. Hey, I think I see him coming, Jerry said. Patrick squinted. Who is that with him? His friend, Jerry said. It can't be. Why not? John said. He looks like a prep boy, Jerry said. What? A prep boy with Stu? No way, John said. Look for yourself, Patrick said. John sat up. Well, I'll be. Look at them fine threads. His loafers are shined as bright, and they reflect the sun, Jerry said. Prep boys always got to look perfect, Patrick sneered. Stu and James walked up to the platform. Hey, fellas, Stu said. Where have you been? Patrick asked. Stu sat his hand on James's shoulder. I was looking for my friend, James here. James, meet the guys. This is John, Patrick, and Jerry. Hello, James said, giving them a smile that wasn't returned. You brought me a root beer stew? John said. I got one for Jerry and me. Correction. You got one for Jerry and me, John said, taking the root beer from Stu. Stu opened his mouth to protest, then decided against it. So you're the genius that Stu's been raving about, huh? John said. Who, me? James said. I told him how smart you are, Stu said. Let's see. Um, he says you play the guitar like Chuck Berry. Hardly. So you don't play then? John asked. No, I do. I mean, I can pick out a few notes, John said. She's just being modest, Stu said. Stu? He's one of the best I've seen. Stu is such a kidder, John said, slugging Stu in the arm. Um, you know, if he's that good, maybe he could teach us a few things, Patrick said, crouching down to John. Maybe he should play a tune. What do you think, John? Hey, now, wait a second. I just came out here to watch you play. I never said I wanted to play. Are you afraid? John said. He's afraid he might blister his baby smooth fingers. Patrick scoffed. Bet he doesn't know the G chord, Jerry said, puffing his chest out. He's not afraid, are you, James? Stu said. James's eyes darted from one back to the other, words trapped in his throat. Patrick stood up. Stu's right. He's not afraid. He's just a chicken. James narrowed his eyes. I'm not chicken. John jumped off the platform. Good. Let's see what you can do. But I don't have my guitar with me. You can use mine, John said. You seriously expect us to play with this cream puff? Patrick said to John. You're the one that wanted to see him play. Let's see what he's got. He will make us look like a bunch of idiots, Patrick protested. Give him your guitar then and I'll play. What? You're telling me to sit one out? It's your choice. Look, fellas, James said. Patrick chuckled. If you're willing to look like an idiot, who am I to stand in your way? But I want Jerry to play my guitar, and he can play Jerry's. Jerry frowned. I don't want him to play my guitar. Sure you do, Patrick said, placing his arm around Jerry. It sounds so much better than mine. It does? Fine. But don't scratch it, Jerry said, reluctantly handing his guitar to James. Have fun, Patrick said, walking away. Come on, you two. Time's a-wasting, John said, stepping onto the platform.
Awesome. That's a great build-up.
Yes, it is. Would you please tell our viewers and our listeners where they can find your beautiful book and how they could get in touch with you if they would like to?
So my book's available on Amazon. I also have a website. It's www.RebeccaHendricksAuthor.com.
Okay.
I'm also on Facebook under Rebecca Hendricks Author and Instagram.
All right. I'm going to follow you immediately.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It was really awesome talking to you, ladies. I think I really appreciate your reading and the story and everything.
Yes, it's our pleasure. Our pleasure. If you hang on with us just a few more minutes, Ruth has something to wrap up and let us know, as she usually does each week.
Okay, Victoria, first you want to say what you usually say, though? You already said it once.
Book. I did say it, but get the book.
Yeah, I just wanted to put the banner up. So. Yeah.
It's official. Get the book, y'all.
In this case, get the books. Both of them.
That's right.
Yeah, so you can get ready when the third one comes out. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, and thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining us on our show today. We enjoyed your books and we enjoyed having you on and talking with you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
So for our listeners and viewers, follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Authors Up Show. You can catch a replay of this show on Facebook on Saturday at 7 p.m. But if you're not a Facebook fan, you can also catch them on YouTube and on podcasts midweek. So they'll be uploaded by Wednesday. You can also email us at authorsup@gmail.com. If you have any questions, if you want to know if you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, we'd love to hear from you. Victoria?
That is it. And thank you again, Rebecca. We have thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you.
It was awesome. Thank you.
And thank you once again to our viewers and listeners. Listen, like we always say, this is our favorite place to be on Sunday night at 7 p.m. You never know what's going to happen, as shown at the beginning of this. Our hearts and our prayers are with our missing compadre. Well, I call them my bronze girls. We are the bronze girls. So we miss our bronze girl who's not here tonight. Listen, we'll be back next week right here on ALH Broadcasting at 7 p.m. Please come and join us. And we say good night and have a blessed week. See you next time. Good night.
Good night.